Okay, I think we'll get started. So first off, thank you to the folks who have joined and showed interest. Today's session is going to be about one of the donated materials for FIRST Robotics teams that they have the ability to use during the season from Monday.com. And so I'm going to introduce a few folks today, and then we'll get started. So I'll start with myself. My name's Robert. I work at FIRST, and part of my role at FIRST is coordinating the donated materials that come from our sponsors and suppliers, and making sure that those get out to our teams in a way that they can access, but also make use of. And I think that brings in the topic of today's event, which is how do we make use of what Monday.com offers for FIRST? And so one of the things that I'd like to share with you today is that a team that's actually using these materials in the FIRST Robotics competition to plan and organize their season is going to present today about how they've used it and where they see the benefits. So before we move over to the team to present what they've done and what they're doing, I'd like to introduce Alex from Monday.com, who's just going to say a few words about what they're offering to teams for this upcoming season.
Thank you very much, Robert. And yeah, thank you very much to the whole FIRST team for organizing this event and the whole partnership. It's been great working with you folk. And hi to everybody who's joining. Wish you all the very best of luck with your upcoming seasons, whether you're here with us live or watching this webinar in the future. This is being recorded and will be shared out to as many of you as we can reach. So as Robert said, I'm Alex from Monday.com, and my job is to work with the nonprofit organizations who are using Monday.com either completely for free or very heavily discounted. And my only job here is to explain how your team can get a free Monday.com account. And it's very, very simple. At least we've tried to make it as easy as possible. This is the magic page. I'll send a link in the chat, which you need to click on. And there are basically two steps. The first is to create a Monday.com account. And you can do that by clicking on the big purple button here. Basically, everybody in the world, when they click on that button, can create a free Monday.com account for 2 weeks. You get a 2-week free trial, even if you're the CEO of the richest company in the world. After that, though, you're encouraged to buy a paid plan, unless you are a registered nonprofit or a FIRST Robotics team. In that case, scroll down here and click on the next purple button to fill out a very simple form. We'll check to see that you're a real team, you don't already have an account, and if so, we can convert your existing account onto this special FIRST nonprofit plan. What do you receive? You receive 10 free seats. So you and 9 team members can access Monday.com completely for free. You're at the pro tier, which means you get unlimited number of boards. It's super robust, 25,000 automations a month. And if you do need to buy extra seats, you can do at a big discount, 70% off. There are also a couple of extra tricks which I can share with you. You also get an unlimited number of viewers and guests, which are slightly more limited in what they can do, but still a lot of really good resources there which can help you and your team work together. And then I guess there is really a third step as well, which is to download the template and check out the guidebook made by the amazing team Tooth231 Onyxtronics. And they've done an amazing work, both setting up this kit and template for teams to use and helping drive this whole partnership. So I'm going to stop talking there. I'll paste the link to this page in the chat. And if anyone's watching the recording, it'll be included there in the recording email. And yeah, we wish you all the best using Monday.com and for the season ahead. So I will now introduce Norit Toron, who is from this team, who's actually using Monday.com, and she's going to take the stage for the rest of the webinar. Thank you so much, Norit.
Thank you, Alex. So I am Nurit. I'm the vice captain of Onyxtronics, and we have been working with Monday for a few years now. And today I'm going to talk about the FRC template and how we use Monday.com. The FRC template we've created and all of you can access with the guidebook that Alex have just showed you. And we'll show how we use Monday.com. And of course, you can ask questions in the end or contact us for further information. So the FRC template consists of 7 boards. The first board is a seasons board, which contains a group for each team, whether it's general, mechanics, control team, marketing team, and community. Now, this board is something that we personally use and even altered it for our personal needs. And we find it very useful because it shows us a overview of the entire season because it contains each team. We even use the feature that I'm going to talk about later that's called a gun, which is a dashboard that's available in Monday, which really gives us an entire overview of our whole schedule in the season. Obviously, you can alter the template once you've downloaded it to your own personal team's needs, whether it's different teams and more. But now I'm going to show you how we. The next board is a dashboard template. These are just a few of the dashboards that Monday has to offer. And these are a few that we find very useful, such as the guns, which I'll show later how we use it. There's a timer which we specifically use to time how many days are left to the competition or the kickoff. This timer is actually accurate. There's 95 days till the kickoff this season. And another very useful dashboard is the battery, which allows us to see the progress with the assignments, whether we are working on them, we've completed them, or we have still a few assignments left. The next board is a systems board. It contains a group for each system in the robot. This allows us to follow the progress of each system, whether it's the chassis, intake, whatever it is in that same season. This board allows us to follow the progress of the system and know where the system is in its current state. Whether it's mechanics, control, this board allows us to track both. The next board is a mechanics template, which contains the basic workflow of the mechanics team throughout the season. Whether it's building the field, concepts, assembling, CADing, and manufacturing. Thanks to Monday's automations, once you enter a system, you can track its status, and once you change its status, it moves between groups. This allows you to know exactly what's the progress and how many assignments are in what current state. The next board is a programming board. This one contains the basic assignments that the control team has. Whether it's writing the robot code, improvements, CR, or testing. Obviously, all these boards you can modify to your current needs. The next board is a strategy teams board. It, as the other boards, contains groups for the assignments of that same team. For example, kickoff missions, scouting, and driver's training. Lastly is the marketing and community template, which contains boards for the assignments each team has, whether it's writing the awards, which we personally track because of the large assignment, or community events, which we can later add to the guns we create and know exactly when in the season we have a community event. Now I would like to show you how we alter the template and how we use it to manage our season. This is a Gantt we've created for the season 2024 Crescendo. We used the seasons board and modified it to our current needs. As you can see, there are different colors. Each color corresponds to a group that's related to a team, whether it's control, mechanics, or strategy. This gun allows us to plan our season ahead and to thoroughly plan everything. Just so you would see how thorough we've planned our season, this is just a part of the gun in the first week of the 8-week season. If you look closely, there are black lines These are dependencies. The dependency feature in Monday allows us to know which assignments are dependent on what, and if there is a certain delay in one of the assignments, we immediately notice what assignments were affected by it. For example, if one of the systems, such as the chassis system, was delayed during manufacturing it, we immediately noticed how it affected the rest of the season. This also allows us to know if our schedule is problematic and if we need to alter how we work on the spot. Another template from the FRC template we use is the systems board. For instance, here is a bill of materials for the off-season robot we are currently building. This board contains groups for each system in the robot. It contains information from left to right, such as the item, the part, number, what the part is, a description, what material it is, its classification, if it's a plate, spacer, profile, or a shaft, a thickness in case it's a plate or profile, the quantity, the profile size, and if we need spares, and method in place of production. For example, if it's something, a part we create in our workshop, is it created in the CNC, in the lathe, or in the 3D printers? And of course, a manufacturing status, so we know if we created the part or not. This board allows us to organize our manufacturing and know exactly what parts are in our robot. This is how the board looks closed. As you can see, a group per system. If you look at the top, there are charts, outsource, lathe, and profile. All of these tables are tables that we have created boards thanks to the filter feature in Monday, and then we can filter our items according to their classification or method of production. This allows us to be more organized, and once we create something, for example, in the CNC, we only see the relevant parts. This is an example of a few dashboards we use throughout the season. For instance, we use the battery in order to track the progress of the parts in the bill of materials I just currently showed you. We also love to use the charts, such as in the bottom and the top right. We like to use it to track the progress of the assignments, or in order to divide certain criteria, such as what is the classification of the parts in our robot per system, and to know how many assignments we have per team in the seasons board and their progress, which is the top right chart. Expenses and incomes is one of the main things that we have been in struggle with in the robotics. It's a real pain to manage your budget as a robotics team. After working a while with Monday, we found a way that we can manage our budget using Monday.com. We realized how the charts and automations are great visuals for data we input in Monday.com in the charts. We have created a personal template in order to manage our expenses and incomes. We have created 2 boards in order to do so. The first board is dedicated to the expenses, which main idea is to make sure that our expenses is a thorough process that's organized and we can follow accordingly. The process starts with a form that we've created using Monday.com. The form asks all the necessary information that we need as a team in order to purchase an item. This form is later transferred to the table, which there the purchase is approved by the one in charge of the budget. In our team, that's specifically a mentor. Once the item is approved, we know to purchase the item, and then we know that we've bought the item. This board, we've created 2 charts. The first chart tells us how many items are approved and waiting for purchase, how many we've purchased, and how many we are under review or not approved. The second chart shows us in percentages the expenses per team. For example, we have the general, mechanics, control, community, and marketing teams. That board is connected to the season's balance board. This board contains both expenses and incomes and is primarily used in order to know what our current balance is. This board is mainly used in order to track what are the incomes and expenses through the charts that I'm now going to show you. In the charts, we have both charts in the left related to the expenses. These charts, top one is the expenses in percentages per team. The difference from the bottom one is that the bottom one is the amount of purchases per team. These charts allow us to know where we spend the most, and hopefully after knowing this information, we can find a way to spend our money in a more efficient manner. The income charts show us the amount of money we earn from each source of income in percentages and in new Israeli shekels. Thanks to Monday.com and our sponsors, we have managed to do this event. And thanks to Monday.com, we have managed to find ways, thanks to their charts, to better distribute our budget in 20%. Any questions, you can reach us through the email at the bottom. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Nurit. I don't know if anyone in the Zoom live has any questions that we want to maybe discuss right now, but we have got time. So if there are any questions that you want to explore, please take advantage of having Nurit live with you, and you can pick her brains on how they set this up. Anyone at all, please feel free.
Yes, Nolan?
There's a question there from Bridget.
Yes, I can put the email in the chat.
Okay, great. I have a question also, if you don't mind. How many students do you have working in the Monday.com process?
In the Monday.com process, all of the students are connected, but only the team, a few mentors and the management of the team, head of control, captain, vice captain, are the ones with the access to create boards. And they're the ones that are really working with Monday.com. The rest of the team is using it to be updated and change a few statuses relating to their work they're doing.
And Bridget, overall, we have, I think, something like 800 teams who have already opened an account through this process, and Probably not all of them are doing everything quite as sophisticated as what Naveed showed, but about 800 teams have an account with us.
We have an account, but we've been using it mostly for non-robotics or non-manufacturing type things. So we've been using it for pack lists, for tracking leads for people who want to join, for who's coming to an event, have they done everything that they need to get for an event, that kind of like more project management of the team process rather than the manufacturing side and the bill of materials. And so I was really excited to see those here, and so I'm like super happy to bring that to. We also, so I have an FRC team, or I help manage an FRC team, and we also have 2 sister FTC teams. So this is going to be a great spread through those 3.
Amazing. That's super cool, Bridget. And I don't know if you saw, I pasted just in the chat a link, so you can access the templates. That's a link to all of our publicly available, publicly produced nonprofit templates. So you'll see other templates here that aren't FIRST related, but you can also obviously click on the FIRST templates that you want.
Hey, this is great. If I may ask a question about adoption, do we have any data about how many teams have used this really in the build season, and how did their experiences go? I'm curious because I'm considering using this for my team in the upcoming season.
Sure, I can maybe take that question. It's a very good question, Patty, and I love the way you're thinking because we are exactly on the same lines. We're actually right now doing an analysis of exactly this, taking a look at the account data. It's important for me to say at this point that we don't have access to anything anyone's doing inside their accounts. We only have very high level kind of usage data, but we are running an analysis right now to see which accounts have used the most, and even maybe to see if there's any correlation between performance and different competitions and that kind of thing. The data is not ready to be presented just yet, but watch this space. We are definitely going along exactly that line, and I'll be sharing it with all the FIRST teams I can as soon as it's ready. So coming soon.
Thank you. And I'm curious if you have any, usually product vendor companies have different educational some small tutorials, get ready kind of classes and things like that. Do you all have any resources published yet, or are you in the process of thinking through that?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's one of the key things that I do in my role. So I can share another link in the chat to our nonprofit success hub. There we have different kind of courses to help you get started based around different themes that are common to nonprofits in general. So not all of them will necessarily be relevant for FIRST teams, something around managing donors or grants. Maybe there's some overlap there, I'm not sure. And the other nice thing about this special program that we've created with FIRST is that you're still entitled to all the regular Monday.com resources. So 24/7 customer support and service, all the articles in our knowledge base, YouTube videos training you how to use Monday and so on. All those are still available to you as well as these extra nonprofit resources, and as well as these kind of webinars that we're doing specifically for FIRST. So there's a couple of different layers to what we're offering. So I'll put a link again in the chat here for all other resources.
That's great. Thank you, Alex. I am a project manager, program manager by profession. Couple of decades of experience. I have took on a leadership role, and I'm really excited about what I'm hearing. I did join the call a little late, though. My apologies. I would love to partner with you, bring my professional expertise, and spread the goodness to the FRC community.
Amazing. Yeah, absolutely. Look, that sounds great. Please do. I'd love to speak more after the call. Sounds very exciting.
Look forward to. Would you mind dropping your email in here, please?
Absolutely.
Hello, my name is Jen. I am a mentor for Team 614. I just wanted to come in and just say that we used Monday for the first time last year for our build season, kind of talking to whoever brought up earlier, who's using it for the build season and everything. And I mean, it definitely, we're making some tweaks to how we're using it. It was a learning experience last year, but it helped us a lot. One of the things that really helped us was manufacturing requests, kind of tracking those, keeping our CAD files linked to that. So then whoever was designing the thing was able to then link it to whoever was going to be manufacturing, and keeping all of that in line. And then we also just actually on Saturday hosted an off-season event, and we did all of our volunteer registration, team registration, and donor tracking and tasks and all that through Monday. And it was a very, very great system that helped us a lot. And so I believe that the event was significantly better organized because of it. So I really appreciate it. And also, again, kind of echoing what was just said, Alex, if you would like to see the data or more just than the high level stuff, or I'd love to. I'm not saying we're great at it or anything, but happy to work with you and kind of help improve this for everybody, because I do think that it has done a lot for us.
Wow, that's amazing to hear. Thanks, Jen. Yeah, I think like I'm getting such a good vibe from working with all these first teams. Like Norita and the team have built all this stuff just for the sake of other people. I might have assumed, I did assume at the beginning that maybe people would be more like combative and trying to screw each other over or something. So the fact that everyone's so willing to give their time and expertise is really, really awesome. So yeah, thank you very much. It's a great offer.
Yeah.
Norita, I actually have a question for you. If there's no other questions pending, I'd really love to know how you manage the start of a new season, when I assume you've got a lot of new people who maybe don't know like anything about how to build a robot or how to build on Monday.com. And I wonder how you kind of train people and kind of keep the knowledge of what other seasons of like what has happened in previous seasons, and how you pass that on to the new cohorts as they come through.
Well, we work with a lot of applications such as Google Drive, which save information from the previous years, and we can learn from them. And also, most of our alumni come and help us as mentors, and thus we continue the cycle with their knowledge and learn from what they've done when they were in our team. Regarding to Monday, we each season we do a brief with the new students and teammates, explain a bit about Monday and a brief review on how to use it. And really, we mainly do our planning on Monday in the off season and press season. In the season, we have mostly everything already created before and just manage it on the way. And really, it's mainly our alumni that come to help us throughout the season, and that's really continuing the knowledge, and we all the time learn and gain more and more knowledge.
Cool, great. And there's a question in the chat from AK, maybe I can read it out, who asked, how do you manage permissions to make sure only the necessary team leads have access to modify boards, add line items, approve expenses, etc.? Also, do you have one person on the team whose full-time job it is to manage Monday.com platform, or is it manageable as a side responsibility for team leads collectively?
Regarding the first question, so there are 10 members and admins that have more permissions than guests, if I'm not mistaken. And only the management team has the permissions of admins or members, and the rest of the team is our guests. And then their permissions aren't the same. They can't create boards. And we've also every year remind the team that they're what they're supposed to do on Monday. And there isn't a problem with making sure people don't create boards or change any items. And regarding to the second question, personally in our team, I'm the one in charge. It's not really a side responsibility. But it's not the only thing I'm doing. It's something that has a it needs a lot of time and effort because you need to make sure everything's organized. But once you find a rhythm and you make sure that everyone does their part, updating and everyone signed in, then it really works smoothly for almost the entire season. There's sometimes when people don't update, then things change a little bit, but it's something that you can totally do in addition to other things. It's not something that you do the entire season. I hope that answered your question, Naked.
Yeah, it did. Thank you for taking the time to answer that question. Follow up on one of the points you covered. So, I know with the nonprofit license, that we've been fortunate to get approved for, there's 10 seats and you can invite guests. So just to make sure I'm understanding this correctly, the 10 seats are generally your team leads or the people that manage the Monday, and then all the rest of the team members are guests.
Yes, that way only the management have the necessary items and permissions in order to create boards that they need in order to manage their team that they're in charge of. And the guests have all the access they need in order to be a part of the progress and know what's going on in Monday without needing to change anything.
Okay. And so the guests on the Monday.com platform, would they have the ability to update line items as in like, oh, I'm going to a meeting on a given day and I manufacture this part. As a guest, can I check that off or move that to completed or change the status or whatever I need to do?
Yes, the main difference is that guests can't create new boards. That is saved for the admins and members. Guests can still update information, whether it's the status or add an item.
Okay. And last question I had is, do you, since you mentioned about making sure everyone knows what to do, internally on your team, do you have like a general set of guidelines within your team that you use to make sure that everyone knows exactly what they should or should not do to make sure that the system works effectively?
Well, we mainly explain to it before the season and give examples, but we can totally, like, if you guys want, we can totally create a guidebook of like how we manage the situation, because it's something that I can really think that it's kind of difficult to manage like 40 students to now tell them what they can or can't do and like make sure that everything's in order. We personally have also been using Monday, so like most of the teammates now, except for the new ones, have already used Monday and know how to act accordingly. But like we just go over a brief, explain exactly what they can do in Monday, what they will need to do. Since we've been working also with Monday for a while, we also know already what we want to use Monday for, what boards, and so everything is just going smoothly more in that department. But if you guys want any questions or can ask us, sure, we can like help you or do something to help other teams as well if you want help in that department.
Yeah, so I do feel like that would be a good resource. I feel like that's one of the harder things in terms of switching to this workflow.
Of course,
Thank
I'll
you.
send the email again and then you can guys send me an email.
Maybe it'll be useful. Don't want to kind of steal the show here, but just to run through how exactly you invite different people to your account and what the difference is between a guest and a viewer and all this kind of stuff, because there's been a few questions around this topic. So I'll try and do it nice and quick. I've just got a board here as an example. This is one I was working on earlier. So you'll see up the top here, I have the option to invite someone to my account, or here to invite someone just to this board. So if I click on this one, I can invite members. You can see that my plan is now full. I'm on this special nonprofit plan, so I have 10 free users I can add as members. but I can add people as viewers. That's unlimited. So that may be one solution. In certain cases, you can invite people to your whole account. They can see everything unless you make it private, but they can't make any changes. The key thing to understand to be able to invite someone as a guest is that it's at a board by board level. So if I wanted to add someone to this specific board, I can come here and you'll see initially my only option is to invite them as a member to this board. So that would be looking at people already in my account and adding them to this board. If I change this board from a main board, that's by default what the board will be when it's created, meaning everyone in your account can see it. If I change it to a shareable board, first of all, you'll see that little logo appears there of the shareable icon. And now when I click on this invite button, again, inviting to this specific board, I have this whole new panel which is opened up where I can invite board guests. This is designed for people outside of the organization, clients, freelancers, and so on. Technically, what does it mean? It just means you must have a different URL in your email address than the email address of the official organization. So that shouldn't be a big problem. You know, anyone can use their personal Gmail, for example, and they can then be invited on a board by board level. So you would need to invite them to every board that they want to work on. But yeah, just to confirm what Nurit said very clearly, once they're on the board, they can do anything. They can change the status, they can add a new item and so on. The only thing they can't do is create a new board because they are invited on a board by board level. So again, 10 free members, which you can invite to your account here. Unlimited viewers can see everything in the account, but not make any changes. And unlimited guests can be invited to any specific board as long as it's shareable. Hopefully that was a useful little summary.
Yeah, so if I understand right, just to make sure, you're saying that if you want to invite all of your team members with access to change the status of every line item, they need to be added on a board by board basis, as opposed to adding someone on to the high level work management kind of block or organizational block
Exactly.
where they can only see stuff.
Exactly. Yep, you got it.
Okay, that's very useful. Thank you.
Perfect.
Quick question on that. Is there a way to bulk add people as guests?
Yes, let me share again.
Okay.
So in here, right, I can separate these email addresses by a comma. So I can just copy and paste in a big batch. That's no problem.
Cool.
You do need to do it board by board.
Sure.
But you can batch add.
Okay. That's very helpful.
And then once that's been done, another cool feature is that you can create teams. So I don't know if you've seen this feature, but in here you can like put multiple users together. So if for then you need to, for example, batch tag like a whole team. You've maybe got a person column. And in here you can tag either an individual person or you can tag like the design team or the marketing team, and that can be done by putting them together in a team here.
Also, could you elaborate more on organizing the people within the board to different teams?
Sure thing. So let's give it a better example. So here's an example which I've already made. So I've opened up Teams here. I just clicked on the little avatar in the top corner and then Teams, and I can create as many teams as I need to here. I've got, for example, a fundraising team. So these are all the people in my account. You can see which teams they're in or no team. I've made here a fundraising team, which is myself and Sarah. We are working closely together. If there's a fundraising event, I want to tag us both. So I've created here us as a team. I can customize this further by giving us a picture and a name and a cover photo and, you know, all this pretty stuff. And then I can, for example, do I have a person column on this board? No, I don't. So this is a list of donors. Maybe I want to add here the person column, and there's maybe going to be someone who's going to, you know, manage these donors. Maybe there's like a person who's going to build a relationship with Lorenzo. Maybe that's Iran personally, but maybe all of our active donors, I'm going to assign to the fundraising team as a whole. So here I just search for fundraising, and you'll see here, as if they were an individual person, fundraising team, and then boom, I've assigned myself and Sarah to this. And I can have 10 or 20 or 30 people in a team, and they'd all be assigned there. And then it's like they're assigned individually. It's just saving me the click to make sure that I didn't need to do that one by one for every one of those items, which could get very time consuming. So I just, batch selected all the items and then assigned them all as a team.
So to add someone to the fundraising team, for example, do they need to be a member of the organization, as in taking up one of the 10 slots, or can it be a guest?
That is a great question. I've never thought of that. Let's see if I can add a guest to a team. I had never thought of that. Let's do some trial and error. Do I see my guests appear here? Yeah, it looks like I can. I do have some guests here. So I could, for example, in my fundraising team, add users. No, that didn't work. What we can also do, there's a very cool help feature in Monday.com. We can try this out live. We have a little bot here, which might be able to answer the question for us. Trial and error doesn't work. The bot usually does. Can I add a guest to a team? Let's see what the bot comes back with. It's usually very accurate. Thinking a while. Okay. You can add a guest to a team, but this feature is only available for enterprise accounts. And unfortunately, enterprise is the one level above what we've got for first team. So it looks like you can't add guests to a team, but you can still, because it's on a board by board level, let me just say thank you to the bot. The robots are going to rule the world one day, so we need to be polite to the robots, You can, excellent. You can still, of course, batch select here, like all the items in question, and then invite your guests here. But yeah, good question. I didn't know that. Looks like you can't invite a guest to a team.
And to kind of work around that, is it possible to add multiple people to a line item? Individual people?
Yeah, no problem at all. So here I can say Alex, Sarah, Bo, and now we've got
Okay.
these people. So that's no problem. The teams thing really solves one problem and one problem only, and that's the time spent clicking on all those people. But apart from that, yeah, you achieved exactly the same thing by coming in here. So yeah, it would save you a bit of time, but nothing else. No functionality is lost.
The other thing I was wondering is if I wanted to add every member of the team, the 20 or 30 or how many ever members there are on the team, as a guest to the whole organization to give them viewing access, and then give each people particular invites to different boards based on what sub team they're on. Is that possible, or is there like a duplication problem there?
Wow, I love these questions. I love you thinking outside the box. Certainly it would definitely work if they use different email addresses. Like, that's for sure. Because the system won't know that, John Smith at gmail.com and John Smith at hotmail.com are actually the same human being. So for sure it's possible. Whether or not you can invite someone as a guest and a viewer with the same email address is a great question. And let's ask again here. Can you invite someone as a guest and a viewer simultaneously? You may have cracked the code. This might be a workaround which people hadn't thought of before. Okay, so there you go. You cannot invite someone as both a guest and a viewer simultaneously, but the truth is you can, as long as they have a different email address. So if you did want to get around the system there, you could do using that system.
Okay. And I mean, I guess a workaround of that is just add everyone as a board specific guest. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know how many boards
you.
you have. Like Norit showed, she has quite a few boards there, but not thousands, so it wouldn't be like an impossible amount of work.
Yeah, and it's a one-time thing, so not a huge deal. But thank you.
Cool. Thanks for your questions. Are there any other questions, my friends?
Hi, I do have a quick question. So I know you had mentioned something before about having different emails and stuff for like students with the original account. So if you create a board with a certain like organizational account, can you add people or add students with that same organizational account as guests? Because from what you had mentioned earlier, it sounded like if the email is within the same org, then it would run into an issue.
Yeah, exactly. So if I come here and I say, it gives me this pop-up. Guests can only be people outside of your organization. And because this account, the slug used was at monday.com, it just doesn't let me add that person using that email address. And it's just a protection. It's not really, this feature wasn't designed, I guess, with first teams in mind. It was designed for companies, right, to stop people abusing this little workaround. But obviously for first teams where we don't have such a big problem with it. But yeah, that's the reason it exists, and you'll just get this pop-up if you do try and use an email address which is the same as the organizational one.
Okay, so then I guess for that type of case, for creating the overall board to have a different email with a different organization, and then being able to add all the students within that school organization as guests.
I guess you're right. I like the way you're thinking. Yeah, that would work.
Yeah, just because the robotics team that I mentor for is through a school, and so the team email is the same organization that all of the students have. So it's actually in the process of creating that for the team, and then you had mentioned that, and I just wanted to make sure and clarify before I signed it up, and then realized that I'd have to go back and do everything.
Great. I'm glad we saw that before it happened. Yeah, that's a good point. And yeah, I think that would work if you do it that way around. Good thinking.
Okay.
Yeah, this is just a technical thing, right? It's a block. Like there's not really any work around there other than what you said. So I like it.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question.
Please go ahead.
So if my team already has a board, so when they invite me to their board, do I have to already have an account created, or do I have to make sure that an account has been created in advance, and so they can add me?
Sure. So when they add you, you'll get an email saying so and so has invited you to this board, and when you click on that link, you'll create a user profile for yourself. You'll create a username and a password, and that will then be what you use to log on. The account will be the account which they created. No new account will be created, but you'll create a new user profile for yourself. And yeah, by virtue of them inviting you and you accepting the invitation, you will create that. So you don't need to do anything in advance. They just simply send the invitation. You follow the
Okay,
steps.
thank you so much. That's very helpful.
Great. No worries, no. Okay, my friends. Well, I'll give the final words to Norit, but I'll finish by saying just thank you all so much for joining. It's really great to see people, passionate about STEM and building robots and using monday.com. So we're really excited to, welcome you all to the system. Please share this with other teams. I'm sure you all know a lot of teams that are out there in the FIRST ecosystem. So the more we can share the good news, that's amazing. You can share that link with them. And we'll also be, of course, sending you a follow-up email with a link to the recording. And a big thanks to both Robert and the FIRST team who helped, coordinate this, and Norit and the Onyxtronics team. It's really amazing to see the work you've done, all, without really any material rewards. They weren't like paid anything to do this. They do this in their spare time just to help out other teams, mostly in a second language as well, which is pretty incredible. So really so much love goes out to you and the whole team. And yeah, thanks everybody for being with us. So I'll give you the final words, Nalit, to sign us off.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you so much for everyone being here. We were so honored to show you how we use Monday to help us manage the season. And if any of you have any more questions, you guys can contact us in our team email. I've sent it in the chat and I'll send it again. We are so honored to show how we use Monday, and thank you so much for Robert and Alex for making this event possible.
Great. Thanks, everybody. Have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.